Hey y'all, and welcome back to another video of My Creative Life with Kel Sweetie, where we make art and we read books. Today, I just want to come to y'all and talk a little bit about what's currently happening in LA. As some of y'all have seen from my other videos, while I am an LA transplant, I'm not originally from LA. I'm from Ohio. I have become an adult in LA. I've been here for the last 12, 13 years, and it has become literally my home. I've built my life here. The last, since Tuesday, as I'm recording this, it's been about 5 or so days, have been extremely, extremely anxious, nerve-wracking, so many things. I don't have adjectives for at this current moment. I am thankfully safe. Our home is safe. My direct friends and family members are safe. My partner's family members have been safe. Literally, we were saved by being so far into the city, and I count my blessings for that because I don't think there's any sort of anything that can prepare you for the idea of fire traveling. Nothing can. I've seen online people who are not here in LA have a lot of rhetoric and things to talk about regarding what's happening here in LA right now. And it's unfortunate that that's not all support. I just want to be clear that this isn't an eat the rich moment. A lot of people who lost their livelihoods were not Nepo babies and rich folks. And especially in regard to the people of Altadena, that was generational wealth. That was for people of color throughout decades of trying their hardest to get to where they were. And even those who might have been richer or whatever the case is, no one deserves to lose their home. I know that right now the country is in a state of unrest because of everything. I mean, there's not even, here's the list of the unrest and political issues and everything that is just at a helm right now. And it still hasn't even reached its absolute peak, I feel like. So please don't take this as well, those people in Pacific Palisades had so much money, or Pasadena had so much money. Eat the rich. Like, this is, the earth fighting back for us, or whatever. That's not the rhetoric. I've unfortunately seen that from far too many people, and far too many people especially who deem themselves as people who are liberal, who are for people's rights, who are constantly talking about capitalism and the issues within it. That is your capitalism and privilege speaking. And there's been many moments, unfortunately, throughout everything that's been going on where it's clear that this, capitalism, class structures are built into us, even as we're sitting here and donating. It's a whole lot that goes with that. But I just wanted to hop on here before, I start sitting here and talking about hauls or reorganizing bookshelves or giving book recommendations. One, to speak on just please donate. Please, if you are in LA, donate your time, donate what you can. I know that for a fact, and if this is not proof of it all of us are only a paycheck or two away from being homeless ourselves. It's unfortunate, but unfortunately, that's the foundation of capitalism relies on you constantly being scared of missing a paycheck, constantly needing more money to live. And if something like this was to happen to you, I can't imagine it. Just alone from the putting myself back on my feet and getting my life back together standpoint, let alone the emotional heartache and break of losing anything that you've worked hard to build. So please, donate your time, donate your money. I know that there are so many GoFundMes out there right now. I know on my Instagram, I have posted far too many from people that I know personally. but right now it's so necessary because no one's ready for this. A lot of other rhetoric I've seen from even family members and stuff, which honestly I don't want to blame y'all because it is ignorance. We are sitting in January. This is technically the winter, regardless of the whole LA rhetoric of it's always sunny in Los Angeles and everything. It's not, this isn't natural. And for a lot of people who are saying, well, don't wildfires happen every year? Why weren't you guys prepared for wildfires? Yes, wildfires do happen every year, but unfortunately, they've gotten worse and worse because of climate change. And there's just no preparing growth. One, fires, all you need is one ember and dry drought for what's happening right now to have happened, which is exactly what happened. And the Santa Ana winds came in. Now, a lot of people ask, well, why weren't y'all already putting the copter, like the helicopters up in the skies and blowing out the fire as soon as it started seeming to get too big? The Santa Ana winds at the height of when the fires were really starting to get up off the ground, were at 100 miles per hour. You cannot fly in 100-mile-per-hour winds. So all they had were people on the ground. And even then, what's happening is literally a firestorm. You are literally blowing fire into canyons because all of that is just wildlife. In LA, it's not all streets and everything in those hills and those pretty places because so many of us love to hike. It's nothing but wildlife and everything that has not seen water in months. So it's kindling. So as those fires picked up, it was literally throwing fire at the best fire fuel in the world. While winds were at 100 miles per hour, they didn't even drop to 60 until 24 hours later, and that is when there was some headway that started. But that is also why so many smaller fires started throughout all of LA. This is how that happens. I've also seen people go, well, what you guys ran out of water. You ran out of water because you sold. I've seen so many conspiracy theories, like LA sold all of their water to Nestle, and that's why they couldn't get the waters, and all of the funding like happened, and that's why you couldn't get the waters. It doesn't make sense. The fires are right there near the ocean. I don't get why you couldn't transport water. Guys, you have to understand how big that fire got, and they were going full force. So while you're doing all of that, you have parts of the city that are still people who are preparing to evacuate, even. So they're sitting here taking showers, they're sitting here washing clothes that they may like need in the case of an evacuation. Those who aren't even caring and just going about their day as usual, still using all of that water that is coming from reserves and everything. You are going to stress out all of the fire hydrants, the pipes, the water reserves. You're stressing out all of them. I don't care how much water in the world there is. You can't keep up demand. Regardless of all of that, I see so many people arguing about why they've gotten so big, and they are completely forgetting any sort of empathy right now for people who've lost their homes. That's unfortunate because if anything, there should be proof that because of climate change and global warming, the world does not care how much money you make. It does not care what you do for a living. It doesn't care how much you may know about what's going on in the world. It doesn't care. It has no sort of filter. And a lot of people have learned that here in LA. And unfortunately, a lot of people who are not here have not learned that same lesson yet and are more willing to point fingers at who started this issue instead of providing support for the issue at hand. And even so, if you are somebody who's like an argumentative, let's talk about whatever's happening, do it once we're out of the clear. Because it's really not tactful for you to do that while people are literally trying to regain their lives after literally losing their homes. It's just wild. That's my little rant moment in regards to that. But I've also seen so many people since November, recommend Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. And I've seen a lot of people who, in the Bookstagram community, who are unfortunately using the fires as a moment to make book recommendations that have nothing to do with what's happening here right now, which I think is completely tone deaf. I think if you are making book recommendations about anything going on right now with the fires, it should be to educate people about what's happening. And that's all I'll kind of say about that. But I think the only book right now, if you are somebody like me who just prefers to talk about political issues and what's going on in the world through the lens of fiction, just because reading nonfiction about those things just is far too real. And for me to like really download what's going on because you're busy just bleeding heart for whoever is telling the story, I cannot recommend Parable of the Sower enough for everyone to read right now. Octavia E. Butler was a resident of Altadena in the Pasadena area. She was born and raised there, and she based the fires that are happening, the climate change that are happening in this book, literally on what was happening there as she was growing up. This book was written and published in 1993. It takes place in 2024. I read this at the beginning of the pandemic in 2020. To date, the things that Octavia Butler has gotten right were the fires from climate change, border crossing controls and issues, presidential elects basically going, we need more religion and less laws in order to fight everything that's going on, huge class issues, upper class wanting to basically leave it all and go to Mars. She even got that one. The political unrest, the drug epidemics. She has gotten so much right. And even during the 90s, Octavia Butler made it very clear that she was not trying to be an oracle. She simply did the research and took those trends as extreme as they could go in the next, what was 30 years. It's been over 30 years. And it's unfortunate that she's correct. It's not amazing or crazy or, oh my God, I cannot believe that it's unfortunate that in over 30 years, we have not changed those trends. And she simply did the research. I recommend it because in 1983, it was a warning. We didn't heed the warning. Unfortunately, now it's a playbook. And I think for many people to read this and see what's going on right now with the fires, with the presidential election, the political unrest, all of it, the xenophobia, it will scare you enough that she got this right over 30 years ago for you to go, and I need to do something about that. Because since we did not make the change and we're experiencing these things in real time, it is up to us to go, God, how much more stupid can we get? We need to turn the tide. Somewhere, anywhere. Now we have to work towards just simply being a solution instead of being something that could stop this from happening. It's happening right now. So I don't really want to give tons of book recommendations. I know for a fact that I am not like, and here's tons of recommendations on wildfires. But if you can, do research on that. Because I don't think there's any way, like me as somebody from the Midwest, I cannot explain to my family members out in Ohio who are currently experiencing a snowstorm that I'm experiencing a firestorm in LA. Like, it doesn't make sense from somebody who's never fought fire, like literally isn't fighting fire and doesn't understand how fires get bigger or how fires even happen naturally in the first place. So in that case, like, I'm not going to sit here and tell y'all that I am the end-all be-all person to turn to. I simply have that recommendation to put things into perspective for what we're dealing with as a society, period, in relation to these fires that are going on from somebody who grew up having these fires even back then. So yeah, I just wanted to hop on here and give space to what's happening right now in LA. to what's happening in the world right now, to tag in about where my mental health and me as a person I am right now, before I just start going, hey, here are some books, and hey, here is a library that I am lucky enough and blessed enough and thankful enough to still have, because I could have lost it in 2 seconds. And that's not lost on me. I am still having nightmares about it. The anxiety will not die down until the fires are put out, which, as I'm sitting here recording this, the Palisades fire is still burning. There's only about 11% containment on it, and the Eaton fires are still burning, and there's only 15% containment on it. They are finally getting the Hearst fire down. They are finally getting the Lydia fire down. It's just a lot, as you've probably seen. And I think all of us in LA right now are just, one, trying to be as proactive as we can be to help those who need it, while also just hoping that they can finally get these fires under control, so that instead of being in emergency, we need to do this now mode, which after 5 days of being in that is exhausting for anybody in any space that they're in, can shift back into, and then now how do we rebuild long term? Because right now it's just, we need supplies, get out the supplies, just do it. Hey, check the app, am I okay? Okay, I'm okay right now, let's go. And not long-term planning for how do we support these people in the long term, because inevitably this is going to change this is going to change all of LA as a landscape, as a society, as a city. This is going to affect so many neighborhoods that may not have been touched by the fire. They're going to be touched by the effects of it. The city is going to be touched by the effects of this fire, no matter what that is. We have not seen what the aftermath is on what this is going to be by the end of the year, what this city is going to be by the end of the year. And that's crazy to think about. So yeah, I just wanted to hop on here and give space to all of that, and to also just show face of still being here, vent a little bit about some unfortunate things that I've just been seeing online. For those who have been extremely supportive, it has been amazing to see. For those who have been willing to hear out how something like this could happen and what does it really mean for all of us, and all of that, it has been really great to hear so many people check in. How are you? How can I help? Has been amazing. So, of course, as always, to that unfortunate ugliness, there's always the other side of that spectrum where it's beautiful empathy that I have also seen on the other side, which has just been amazing to see. Hug a loved one extra tight tonight for me. Or whenever you're seeing this, be a little extra thankful for a couple of whatever you have. I know that for me, I am, and it puts just so much in perspective. So I will see y'all on the next one. It will be more upbeat, but if it sounds just a little bit less than usual, of course you know why. Which I know that y'all are always so great, and you're probably just like, you could have waited to make the video. But in all honesty, like, this is helpful for me. It really is, or else I'm just sitting there and my mind is reeling. So honestly, this is very helpful for me. I donated today, and tomorrow I'm thinking about possibly volunteering. I'm just looking for whatever I can with whatever I can, to extend myself. So this is one way. I have a channel, so I'm extending resources and knowledge. I'm going to be putting in the description box a exhaustive list of both places to volunteer, as well as an exhaustive list of POC families that were affected by the fires and their GoFundMe so that they can get back on their feet. So please check those out if you want to know where to help. Great place to start. So thanks, y'all. I appreciate it, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.